Hi, everybody. Chris,
Hi, everybody. This is Lori.
and welcome to this week's Top Producer Training. We have a special treat for you today. If you didn't know already, we have a special guest with us, Laura Parrish. Laura, you could just say hi quickly.
Hey guys, how are you? Thanks for having me tonight.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. We're really honored to have you today, Laura. Before we get into any details here, we just got a couple quick little things we need to get out there. First of all, if we talk about income today, we have a full income disclosure down the very bottom of this page. And also, if you have any questions at all during the Hangout, you can post them below in the comment section. Or if you have the chat, we'll be monitoring those throughout the Hangout today. So, Laura Parrish, for those of you who don't know who she is a coach, she's a speaker, she's a mom, and one of the reasons we have her on here tonight is she was able to break away from the day-to-day working for somebody else and was able to work from home and create a six-figure income where now she can do what she wants, when she wants, and spend a lot of time with her kids. Right, Laura?
Absolutely. That's my why for sure.
Yeah, we really get out of your videos today with your kids. So that's one thing that a lot of people we see today. We got two incomes out there, and parents just aren't with their kids that much, which I think is sad because you miss so much not being with your kids. So, got a few questions for you, Laura. You ready?
Maybe. It depends. I feel like I could talk with you guys for hours on end simply because of how our relationship, the three of us, our relationship came to pass, because you guys aren't in my downline or anything like that, but a simple syndication group that I started turned into front page of Google for you guys. And it's just it's been an amazing journey. So I feel like I know you, even though I really only met you for the first time this past week in Nashville. So I'm ready for whatever you can throw at me.
Awesome. Yeah, maybe we get time later on to talk about some of the really cool stuff that's happened as a part of this syndication group. If I don't get to it, I actually have some links below to some blog posts I did earlier about some of the things that Laura and I have interacted with in her syndication group, which has been awesome. All right, so Laura, you want to kick off the questions?
Sure. First question. What is the biggest problem for you in your life before you started your business?
Hold on, I'm trying to get okay, there we are. I can see me now. It's like weird if I don't see myself talking, right? So the biggest problem and challenge that I faced before I started working for myself from the comfort of my home was that never-ending, gut-wrenching feeling of, like not being able to pay your bills on time, always playing catch-up. Like if you have 600 that's due, like 300 of it's current and 300 of it's past due, and you're always like playing catch-up. And our life was that way because when we had children, we decided I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. We didn't want, strangers to raise our kids. And my husband's a restaurant manager, and I was a restaurant manager. So before we had kids, we were living large, making 6 figures a year. And then when we decided to have kids and make that decision for me to stay at home, our income literally got cut in half. And though he made great money, we just got by. It just paid the bills. There was no more going out or doing dates or, anything extra. And, just playing really catch up and, the check being gone and spent before it even really hit the direct deposit in the bank account. And it was frustrating. And I decided that I couldn't take it anymore. I was too much of a strong-willed person. Any job I've ever had in my life, even if I started at the very bottom, within a couple of weeks, I was already well on my way to the top because I just do everything 110%, right? So I made the decision that I wanted that freedom back that I had before we had kids, and then I wanted to provide for my family that way.
Awesome. We can relate to that. So I guess you kind of already, but so what was the more out of your life that you wanted? You may have kind of gotten into that a little bit.
Like I said, I really just wanted like my independence back, if that makes sense, because we all know, well, at least if you have kids, you know this, right? That, you know, we love them, they're all of us, and we give 110% of ourselves to our children and put them first, but you really lose your independence when you become a parent, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad, it doesn't matter, because everything that they want and need has to come first. And, you know, that's completely different than when you were able to do what you wanted, right? So I wanted a piece of that back. I mean, I knew that my kids would always still come first, but I wanted to provide for them the way that I was able to provide for myself and my family before I had them. And I wanted that. I wanted to be able to not only have the choice to go out to eat, but the choice to say, hey, let's go to Outback instead of we can only afford McDonald's, right? I wanted the ability to be able to pay a babysitter to watch our children so we could actually go out and have a date, because the date nights just weren't happening. I mean, it costs $60, you know, for a couple people to have dinner. And then, you know, depending on how much the babysitter costs, $40 or $50. And if you want to go to a movie, that's like $30 or $40 now. I mean, it was darn near $150, you know, $200, if not more, to even go on a date. And I wanted normality back, if you could say that. So I joined with the intention to change our finances. That's why I joined. And I think that's why everybody starts their own business in the internet marketing world, because we want to make money, right? We want to make money from home. We want something about our situation to change.
Absolutely.
Same thing. Why should people pay attention to this story?
Well, every person has a story, and some people have good stories and good awesome things that they've done in their past, and some people have not so good stories and not so good past. But regardless of what your story is, we all have one. And I never understood the power of my story, right? I never understood the power of my voice. And quite honestly, my story touches a lot of people, but there are people out there that my story doesn't impact at all because they can't relate to it. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've been sober for just over 4 years now. So people who have been in that type of situation in their life can really relate to me, because they've been in that vicious cycle of feeling like constant failure, because, you know, you promise yourself you're not going to drink again, and then you get up and you drink again, and it's like you can't ever keep your promises. You feel like a failure, and it's like, how do you get out of that? And so when I tell my story about that, people who have that same issue in their life can relate, because they're like, hey, that's exactly what I went through, or that's exactly what I'm going through. So each person, each individual story impacts people differently, or may not impact people at all. But I think that there's multiplicity. You know, my story isn't just about being a recovering alcoholic. My story is about being a stay-at-home parent too. So I can relate, you know, to people who are stay-at-home parents, can really, really relate to my story, in addition to, you know, the struggles of my past, and where I was then to where I am now. And also just in general about learning that people are real. The stories, you know, you see people making, you know, the big checks. I've got some checks behind me, income disclaimer, results not typical. And it's like, they're not real. That's a robot or whatever. And it's got to be a scam. And I used to be the same way, because I didn't have the right mindset. And when I started making changes in my life and listening to audios and doing the right things, and opening my mind to the possibility of the stories that other people were telling, that's when everything changed for me, because that happened at my first event, because I heard someone's story. And I never believed that my story made a difference, but now I know that everyone who hears anything that I have to say, and this isn't just for me, it's for anybody, it's for you, it's for anybody watching this, everything that you say impacts someone. It doesn't matter if it's a spouse, a mother, father, daughter, you know, sister, brother, an acquaintance. Everything that comes out of your mouth impacts someone, and it's up to you as to whether you decide if the way that you impact people is in a positive or a negative way.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Laura, what event do you think would be an inspiration to others that you had to overcome when you were starting your business out?
I'm sorry, what event?
So what event where you think would be an inspiration to others that you had to overcome?
Okay, so like kind of like I was talking about, like something really bad in my life or something really good.
Just starting out your business. I mean, a lot of people start a home business. They really have no idea where to get started, what to do. So what events did you have to overcome you think might inspire others?
Okay, so you mean like after I got into working from home, right? So okay, I get it. Sorry, I misunderstood there for a second. You know, I think that most people who want to do this, like I said, you know, we're all about the money. That's why we get in, because we want to make money to change our situation. And at least for me and a majority of the A-type personalities that I know, we just try so hard. It's just like, oh, I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta go. And it's like you do everything. It's like I was marketing and I was putting myself out there and, you know, talking about my business till I was blue in the face. And I was getting so frustrated to the point I was in tears when I first started. And it's important to share your struggles, because there's people out there listening to what I just said right now saying, that's me. I feel like I'm gonna pull my hair out and I cry and stuff. And I want to say I was there too. So you can understand that there is a way through that. And the struggle for me was that I was trying too hard. I was really trying to sell my business. And you say, well, isn't that the point? You know, you sell your business so other people can get in the business. But what I really learned, and my biggest breakthrough is stop selling my business and to start telling my story, to stop trying so hard, you know, come join me, to make people join my business, whatever, and really listen to people and try to relate to people and what they're going through, right? Because I had to stop and think back when my, you know, shift really came is when I heard and related to someone else's story. It changed everything for me, because I was like, well, if that person could do it, I can do it, right? So then I realized that's the relation. You know, people buy into people. People don't buy into businesses. You know, you can buy a car from any car dealership, but what car dealership do you want to buy from? What type of salesperson, you know? Someone who's genuinely interested in what's best for you, or someone who's just trying to pad their pockets. And that was the biggest thing for me. The biggest breakthrough was to stop worrying about making money and really start engaging on trying to help people change their lives. Because when people really understand and feel that you have their best interest at heart, they'll join you, right? They'll run with you, and they'll stay with you forever, regardless, because they know that you're there to support them. And there's a big difference. I don't mean like hand-holding people and doing stuff for people, because quite honestly, you cannot want someone else's success for them more than they want it for themselves. But if you see people out there who really want to change their lives, and you suit up and you show up for them, they're going to suit up and show up for their business as well. And it just, it multiplies. It's absolutely amazing.
Right, thank you.
Kind of like what you're doing.
Absolutely. Did you have any doubters?
Well, you mean like friends or family?
All the above.
Okay, well, you know, I still get that, and I got to tell you, that never ends, okay? So for those of you out there who work from home, you know what I'm talking about, or considering it, understand that now. So you got to learn to have a little bit of thick skin. And I want to rephrase this or reframe something really quick, because I think a lot of people have a misconception. It's not really working from home that we do. I mean, I am at home and I am working, right? But we own our own business, because a lot of people say, well, I don't have to work the job I have now, so why should or I don't have to pay to work the job I have now, so why should I have to pay to work at home? This is not something where like you're a medical transcriptionist and you're actually just filling in hours and doing stuff on the computer for an employer. This is literally owning your own business, and it is work. All right, there is no get rich quick, there is no anything like that, so don't get it twisted, right? So it's not really work from home. It is work, but it's owning your own business. But as far as the haters, yeah, I still have them. I still hear it. And it's going to be like that forever, right? You've got the people who say, well, if it's so great, why isn't everyone doing it? Well, everyone's not doing it because they're just like you, thinking it's not real, right? They're just like you, thinking it's a scam. They're just like you, thinking I'm some robot on the other end of the computer, you know, like just sending out links, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I've had people be pretty harsh with me, you know, like you should be ashamed of what you're doing, and you raise kids and stuff like that. And I'm like, really? I'm teaching my children things that they cannot learn in an education system, because they don't teach this stuff in school. And my children are going to be just leaps and bounds beyond so many other children out there who don't get this type of freedom and education in a general school system, right? Where they just say, read these books, learn about history, and then go to college for 4 years and then work for the next 40 years of your life, right? Because that's what the school teaches. But yeah, the haters are there. Fortunately, I have a husband who supports me and has always said, do what you want to do, because I think he figured out before we got married that I was going to do what I want to do anyway, which was good for him. Almost 13 years later now, he still gets it, right? But you know, as far as my like parents and siblings and stuff, they really still to this day don't know what it is I do, and I don't really think they're interested, and that's okay. All I know is in March of 2013, when I went to my parents' house, I said, I'm so excited, I have something to tell you. And they were like, what's that? And I said, it was March 28th, I remember, 2013. And I said, I just hit $30,000 in 1 month in 28 days. And, you know, my dad looked at me with the straightest face and was like, I hope you set aside some for taxes, right? Like, there wasn't even like, whoa, congratulations. And now I'm like, really? Like, come on. Income disclaimer, results not typical, right? But so there's always going to be haters because people don't understand. When someone doesn't understand something, their first reaction is to judge it or to criticize it or to automatically assume that it's not real. I mean, honestly, if you're out there listening to this right now and you don't already have your own at-home business or you're considering joining, did what I just say like impact you like crazily when I just said I made $30,000 in 28 days? You're probably thinking there's no way, because that's not conscionable in our brains. That doesn't make sense, you know? It doesn't make sense that someone can make in such a short period of time what most people don't even make in an entire year, but it's absolutely possible. If you would have asked me before I joined, you know, Empower Network and working from home with owning my own business, if I ever would have thought it was possible, I would have said, you're crazy, there's no way. But that comes with a lack of belief. And everything changes when you change your mind. If you want to change your life, you first have to change your mind. So the haters are there, they're still there. I still get, you know, people who are like, oh, you're a scam artist. And I'm like, you know what, I just ignore it, because when I go to bed at night, I feel good about what I do. I can sleep well, even though I don't sleep much. I can sleep well because I know that I'm an honest person and that I'm helping people achieve the same things that I've achieved in my life, and the freedom to live the way that they want to live. And really, that's what it's all about. So that's what I can say about that.
So what major revolution did you have that caused you to go ahead, despite where people were thought you were crazy doing this, you're not going to make any money, it's a scam. So what major revolution did you have that caused you to go forward anyhow, despite the naysayers?
Well, when I first got in, like I said, I didn't really have any naysayers. I didn't really tell anybody what I was doing. It wasn't that I was hiding anything. It was just like I wanted to find something to do at home, and so I like started looking online to find something to do from home, and I did, and I just went for it. I just, you know, anyone who says those things, and at first, you know, it kind of got to me, but you know, I was like, I knew what I was doing was right. I knew that it was changing and impacting my lives and the lives of my family members and the people around me. And so I just ignored it. You know, you got to do that. And this is what I tell people, because I have a lot of people, even on my team, you know, and there's people that, you know, like join, whether it's a male or a female, and they intentionally don't tell their spouse because they're afraid that their spouse is going to be upset with them or say whatever, you know, and their family and friends. And here's my thoughts on that. This is what I tell them. I say, you know, in my book, in my opinion, anyone who really genuinely cares about you, truly, whether it's a friend or a family member where they love you deeply or if they just love you as a friend, whatever, would be happy for you if they see you doing something to try to better your life. And if they see you trying to do something different, like if these friends and family members and these people that supposedly love you, right, see you struggling, see you barely getting by, see you, you know, financially strapped, see you not happy, your family not fulfilled, and they see you like that all the time, but then all of a sudden they see you make a decision to try to do something to change your life, which would be like this, you know, working from home, owning your own business, you know, for them to step up and be like, oh, that's a scam or that's not real, you know, it's like, my opinion is if they're not with you, they're against you. Because if they've seen you struggle for so long and been there with you in it, even a spouse, right? And then see you trying to do something different to change your life, they should be supportive, right? That only makes sense, because if you want your life to change, you have to change what you're doing, because your best thinking has gotten you to where you're at right now. And if you're not happy where you're at right now, then it's time that you think about doing something different. And like I said, people are either for you or against you. And here's another thing I think too. People say, you know, well, my uncle says this isn't real, or my brother says this is a scam, or my husband or my wife, whatever. So I ask people, if you were going to invest, I don't know, let's just pick a number, whatever. If you're going to invest like $5,000 into the stock market, right? Would you go to a stockbroker and ask the stockbroker where you should invest your money, like how to do it, where to put it, what stocks, you know, this, that, and the other? Would you do that? Or would you go ask your uncle or your brother or your spouse where to invest that $5,000 in the stock market? I'm pretty sure that most people would go to a stockbroker, because the stockbroker is in the business, right? And is doing it and knows what they're doing and is knowledgeable and has success doing it, or they wouldn't still be in the business. You're not going to go to your uncle or your brother or your spouse, you know, who's making X amount of dollars, who has no idea about stocks, to get information on where to invest your $5,000. You're going to go to someone who is in it, doing it, has success with it, and that's why you go to them, because it's proven results, right? And this is the same thing. You know, people who say, oh, it's not real, it's a scam, you're wasting your money. Really? How much do you make an hour? You know, $15, $20 an hour, that's a lot even. Most people, $7 to $10 an hour. And you're telling me that this person who's made multiple six figures a year in just a couple years, really, as a stay-at-home parent, who knows what they're doing is wrong, like proven results, right? It's like, who do you listen to? So it's not to be rude to your friends or your family members or the naysayers, but it's like common sense when you just sit down and say, you know, the exact same things that I just said to you guys about, you know, if you really care about me, you should see that I'm making an effort here to do something different in my life to better our lives, right? To be more abundant for our kids. And, you know, it's a huge thing. I believe this. I don't know what everybody's beliefs are. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. That doesn't mean you have to, okay? I'm just saying what I believe in is. But I believe that you're not going to be blessed with more abundance until you appreciate what you already have. So, like, before I got into this, we didn't have a whole lot, but I was appreciative that I had a roof over my head at least. You know, even though we were renting a house, we'd never owned our own home. I was appreciative that we had a car, even though it was a used car and we'd never had a new one. I was appreciative that I had my babies with me, and that I wasn't in jail like I had been before from living wrong and drinking and driving. I was appreciative of where I was at. And I think that once you have that, and then you open your mind to the possibilities and the belief that you really can live the way that you want to live and have the things that you want and deserve and live your dreams, then you start to be blessed more abundantly.
Absolutely. Wow. Great stuff.
What happened on this journey, and who did you meet, and who helped you out?
Okay, so we need like, I don't know, a week to talk about this. Well, I'm just saying, because like, you know, May 24th will be my 3-year anniversary inside of Empower Network. And it's been tons of people, including you two right there sitting in front of me, that I just met live for the first time in the last 7 days. But through this business, met you, you know, a few months ago online. When I joined Empower Network on May 24th, 2012, and Empower Network launched on October 31st, 2011, there was only like, I don't know, I think at the time 10,000 people when I joined. When I went to my first event in San Diego, there was like 6 months later, September 2012, there was 22,000 people. Now there's like 300,000 people inside of Empower Network. And there are so many people that have touched my life unknowingly. Like, they don't even realize what they've done for me, which is an amazing thing, because you get all these moments that you don't even know you needed, and people come up to you and say stuff, and it's like, wow, I did that. Like, I helped change someone's life. I didn't even really feel like I did anything, but that's the power of sharing your story, right? Because people relate to it. But I would say, to start off, of course, David Wood and David Sharp were both the co-founders of Empower Network when it started. David Sharp left a little over a year ago to deal with some health issues, so David Wood is now the only founder of Empower Network. And he is like a brother to me, literally. I trust him explicitly. And he doesn't have long, wavy hair anymore. He cut it all off for his wife, Priscilla, who's also awesome and wonderful and beautiful. But he is a true visionary because he didn't start a company to make a lot of money. Empower Network wasn't started to pad his pockets or anything like that. David had been successful for several years, a few years anyway, in internet marketing, making $30,000+ a month. He didn't need to start a business. He was doing fine on his own. You know what I mean? He went from living in a van homeless to making $30,000+ a month. He didn't need to start a business or a company like Empower Network. But what he found throughout his travels and his journeys working online is that he was always having a lot of success, but the people that he brought in to join him, wasn't able to reach the same level of success that he had, his team. And that really frustrated him because the point for him was the same thing as the point for me, which I know is the same thing as the point for you guys, the Brindamours, and so many of the other people in Empower Network. I would say at least 90%, which is how people change their lives. If you bring in people, but you can't help them reach the same achievements and goals that you have, then it's like you kind of feel like crummy, right? And his vision was to create a company to bring team members into that he could feel confident could reach the same level of success that he did. And that's what he's done. That was his vision, to help other people change their lives. And I saw that vision when I joined, but I didn't really believe it would happen to me until it really happened to me. And I was like, what? Because I just joined to make some money, but I got a lot more than I bargained for because it completely transformed my life. So David Wood, of course, obviously has impacted me. David Sharp was really the other co-founder was really the first person that I connected with, as my first event was in September 2012, and I heard him speak on stage. He's a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. He's been sober, I think, over 7 years now, 6 or 7 years. And at the time, I had only been sober for 18 months. And my first event, I heard him speak on stage. And the arrogant self-ego that I had was listening to this man on stage saying that, he had done cocaine and he had done all this stuff. And I thought to myself, well, I never did all that. All I did was drink, right? So if he could do all that and still change his life and make millions of dollars, then me, just a bad drinker, can do the same. I wasn't as bad as he was, right? That was my fault. So it really impacted me. And I went up to him that first night and I introduced myself. I said, my name is Parrish. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've been sober for 18 months. I'm going to be your next leader on stage in Austin in 3 months. I'm going to have a banner just like Tracy Walker, and watch out for my team, whatever. And I told my team name. And he was like, I believe you. And I didn't know if he really believed me or not, but I was determined. And then the next day he came off stage and he was like, hey, I want to call out this girl who said something to me yesterday. And he walked towards me. I was like, oh, snap, me? He was like, yeah. He was like, stand up. So he made me stand up and tell the 3,000 people that were at that event exactly what I had told him the day before. And like I said, then there was 22,000 people in Empower Network. So that made me accountable. And I'm one of those types of people that I don't want to be embarrassed. So if I stood up and said that, and then 3 months later, I didn't fulfill what I said I was going to do, I didn't want to be that girl where everybody was like, whatever happened to that girl who said she was going to do this, but where is she now? The one-hit wonder thing. I'm not like that. So I was bound and determined to do whatever it took. So David Wood, David Sharp, so many other people that I've come into contact with. I have people on my team that aren't even below me in my downline. I don't earn off of them financially whatsoever. But they came to me and they said, we want you to be our mentor. We want to be a part of your team. Will you help us grow and reach the levels of achievement that we want? And I said, absolutely. So, I have people on my team that, I don't even make any money off of, and that's okay, because to me, it's not about the money. It's about transformation. I said at the beginning of this call that my why was my kids, because originally it started just as that. It started just as making money to help live the way I wanted for myself, my family, my husband, right? But it turned into more than that. Now my why has developed into literally helping change this world one person at a time. Because if even one person can hear anything that I have to say and start to believe just a little bit that there's a chance for them, that there is hope, that they really can change their life and live the way that they want. And they reach out to me and say, hey, I want your help. You know, that's my why. That's it for me. I'm like, yes, that's why I never sleep, because success never sleeps. And I'm always afraid that someone's going to like message me in the middle of the night and be like, I heard your story, I want to change my life, help me. And I'm going to be like asleep or something, and then I'll miss them and I'll be sad and they'll be like, they'll be lost forever. I'm like, oh no, I missed someone, right? So I don't know. I love what I do. I love what I do. I have such a passion for it because it's just amazing.
That's a blessing to have. There should be more Lauras in the world.
Yes.
I second that. You know, someone in the syndication group, I don't know if you guys saw this, but someone said Laura for president like a couple months ago. And I was like, yes. And then people were like, I vote for you. So it's like, we might get a presidential campaign going on. I don't know.
Oh boy. Well, you're not too far from Washington, right?
Couple hours.
There you go. We'll vote for you. Yeah, just to tag on to what you just said, Laura, we're not on Laura's team at all. I just happened to be in her blog syndication group, and she kind of took us under her wing a little bit. You know, there's no financial connection at all, but this is the beauty of this business. You're in business buy yourself more that are available to you. You can tap into and pick your brains and have them help you out with hangouts like this and help you out with your blogs. And it's unbelievable. You know, we just came back from an event in Nashville, and just being around that group of people in itself was amazing. It's just an overwhelming energy. You can't even explain it. You have to go to one to experience.
Because I found that it kind of rejuvenated my belief in myself and in the business for what it was, and seeing everyone transforming and seeing people succeed, and how you just really weren't envious of them. You applauded them, because if you've known them for a while and you went to these events and you saw these people just to see how they carry themselves, how they're speaking, and you just know that they're going to keep flourishing. I mean, just the way that people just kept giving back in this business. That's the most important thing that really touches my heart, is that, like, you know, it is our business, but there's so many other people out there who want to see us succeed and are willing to post and be on your websites and stuff like this. So, Laura, thank you so much for wanting to be here for us and speak and give your any influence that you can give everybody. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely, and if I can tag on to that about the events, you know, it's just a community. You know, people are like, what is that word that people call things? A group, like, oh, a cult. People are like, oh, it's a cult. And I'm like, hell no, it's not a cult if you lost your mind, right? No, I mean, like, I've literally witnessed, you know, because people understand the power of events. There was one event in particular where there was a lady checking into the hotel, and of course, like most all the Empower Network people, like, show up at the same time, right, to check in. There was a lady checking into the hotel. I don't even know if you guys know this story. It's really short. I won't take up the whole time, I promise. But she had her daughter with her, and she was checking in, and she wanted to pay cash for her room. And so she gave the desk attendant cash, and then she was like, no, we need a credit card for incidentals and stuff like that. And the lady was like, I don't have a credit card. And she was like, well, you can't check in. And I was like, what? Like she had cash money to pay for her entire stay, but the lady wouldn't let her check in. She didn't have a card. Do you know that two people back behind her, a gentleman inside of the Empower Network as well in our community, walked up, took his credit card out, and laid it on the desk to the clerk and said, use this. I mean, that gives me goosebumps. Look at the hair on my arms, like, standing straight up, right? Because it's like, without even a thought, like, that's just how we are in this community. It's like that, because that's like horse crap, right? I mean, come on, like, let her in her room, you know, use my card. There's been people who have gotten to these events who didn't have money to get home. They only could afford a one-way ticket, you know, like plane or train or whatever bus, didn't afford a way home, but they came anyway without a place to sleep, things like that, because they knew and understood the power of events and how it will absolutely totally change your life. I mean, an event is what changed my life, seriously, like that, truth be told, because the first 6 months I was in, I was making money, but I was kind of like philandering and I wasn't really focusing on it. I was making money, you know, whatever. but I really wasn't like gung-ho or whatever until I went to that event. I was like, man, this is the vehicle that is going to change my life. And when those people do those things, you know what? Someone makes sure they get a ride home. Someone makes sure they have a plane ticket home. No one has ever, I've seen no one sleeping like out in the street or whatever. They give a bed if they have an extra bed, or a floor if they have room on their floor, or whatever. We just take care of each other. I mean, that's just the way this community is. And forget about the money and the monetary thing for a moment. You know, there are people in this world who are just completely alone and feel alone, and they don't have family, and they're searching because they want to be a part of. Like, that's why I went out drinking all the time when I drank, because I was always afraid like I was missing something. I wanted to be like in the middle of everything. I wanted to be part of the party. I always felt like I was missing. I wanted to be a part of something. And there are people, and I tell you, this is funny, you guys will get a kick out of this. I have people on my team who haven't made any money, and you'd be like, oh, don't say that on a live call, Laura. Why would you say that? Well, here's why. Because they actually have jobs that they're passionate about, that they like. And I always tell people, you should do whatever you're passionate for in life. If that's working your own business from home, then do that with us, right? If it's being a doctor, then do that. If it's being a lawyer, then do that. We need doctors, we need lawyers, we need restaurant managers, we need all these things. But I have people on my team who do those things, like they have their own jobs, they're passionate about it. They don't make any money with Empower, but they still stay. And I like call them up, I'm like, you know, I can help you make some money, you know, just let me know. And they're like, no, I'm good, right? Because they're here for the community. And so many other leaders as well as myself say this, people join for the money, but they stay for the community, right? And the money's great too, don't get me wrong. I mean, you can see the checks behind me, I love it, income disclaimer. But that should speak volumes to you. That there are people who like stay for the community, not because, you know, I got to make X amount of dollars, right? Now, most people, you know, want to make money, right? So that's few and far between, but it's just an extraordinary example of how powerful of a community that we have and what a wonderful part it is. It's not like we're just on these computers talking all the time. Every 3 months we get to go, we get to be live, see each other, you know, like Lori said, see, you know, how each other grow and flourish and come up and see people on stage and be on stage with them. It's absolutely transformative.
Absolutely. Laura, I don't know if you know the story, but I'm going to tell it anyways. Something that really impressed me that I saw from you. I was really looking forward to meeting you because we've been exchanging comments back and forth in your blog. Looking forward to meeting you this weekend. But one thing that really, really impressed me, and I knew that you were a tremendous leader, you know, you had a teammate that ended up in the hospital. And I know we paid a lot of money to be there. You know, we had to pay for a ticket and hotel and airfare and everything to get down there. And we all look forward to being at the events and being around with people. But you took time away from the event to be with your teammate in the hospital. I think you spent a good part of that event in the hospital with your teammate, just being with them. And that really, really impressed me as a leader. It's something that you did, thinking more about others than you were yourself. And that really, I don't even know how to put it. But,
you know, a lot of leaders say that, in whether it's this business or a different business, you're so used to hearing people say that, you know, I'm there for you if you ever need me. Well, you're evidence to that in this business, there are people who will go above and beyond and stand behind what they say.
Oh, you guys are so sweet. Y'all are trying to make me cry. Like made me cry on a public call. But now, you know, that, and I hope she's watching right now. That young lady's name was Vicky, and her daughter was there too. And both of those ladies are actually two people who are not underneath of me. I don't earn anything monetarily from them. They, you know, they orphaned into my team. They were two of the people who said, hey, we want you to be our mentor. And I took them in. And I just, you know, I just want people to be successful and be happy. And the events are amazing. Like you said, all this stuff, you know, we pay the money to go and do this, that, and the other. But there'll be more. And I haven't missed an event since I went to that first one, and I won't miss one. But, you know, there are other ways. Where there's a will, there's a way. You know, we talked with Empower Network, and this is how amazing Empower Network is above and beyond, you know, what you guys are giving me edification for, which is the Empower Network got her the live stream and didn't make her pay for it. And I'm sure they're fine with me saying that because she was VIP, she's all in, right? They're all in, and said, hey, we're not going to let this person miss out on the event because they were in the hospital. Furthermore, I want to edify Vicky and Christina because that happened. She got attacked by a cat. That happened that morning, or not that morning, Thursday morning. They live in Illinois, and instead of choosing not to come to the event, okay, this happened in Illinois, they still got in their car and drove 7.5 hours to Nashville to come to this event. And that woman, let me tell you something, she was hard-headed. I was like in tears in the hospital because she was refusing to be admitted. And I'm like, your leg is more important. You know, I'll get you the live stream. We'll get it worked out. But talk about commitment and dedication. This is the type of people in this business, right? Because no matter what it takes, no matter what the odds are, no matter what happens, getting attacked by cats or hospitals or not, determined to be there. And they had every right reason and know-how to say, hey, I can't make it. Like, I'm hurting. Like, I got hurt. But they came anyway. Come on, you know. So it's just amazing. But thanks for the edification. I just want to see people happy and healthy and successful. And if I can be a part of that journey in any way for people, then that's where I'm at. That's where you'll find me at.
Oh, you're a blessing, and we really appreciate you.
Thanks.
I'm going to just check real quick because I think I got I got a comment from Jenny. She thinks you're doing great. Actually, it's funny. You know what's funny, Laura? I've met so many people in my home state here in Rhode Island through Empower. We didn't meet them here. We met them at an event.
Right.
It's funny. So I've met a lot of people through your blogging. I don't see any particular questions. I think we had one more question for you, Laura. What were the main key things that you learned about how to solve your problem? So how can I put this? So you were looking to supplement your husband's income and go back to what you were before you decided to stay home mom. So what key thing did you learn to do that?
What key thing did I learn for what? You cut out at the end.
I'm sorry. What key thing did you learn that enabled you to solve your problem you had before you got in this book?
I kind of touched on it before, but you know, to stop trying to sell, right? It's like, oh, I got my own business. You own a business, you think you got to sell something, right? So got a business, sell it. Now, obviously, Empower Network has products, so you sell the products, you make money. So the technicality of it all is selling. But the thing is when you try to sell, you don't make any money. I know that sounds like so weird. The biggest takeaway and revelation of it for me was learning that the secret that everybody is searching for is nowhere else other than inside of me. You know, everybody's like, and I talked about this on stage in Chicago, you know, because people will come up to you when you're successful and have made a lot of money, and they say, what's your secret? Like, if you tell me what your ad says, where you post your ad, you know, how you talk to people, what you say to people, if you give me everything that you do and let me do it, then I'll do the same thing as you and I'll have the same results as you. And I said on stage, I said, you know what, I can give everybody all of that. I could sit and do calls and say, this is what I do, and this is what I do, and blah, blah, and give it all to you. But that does not mean that you'll have the same results as me, because it's not about really the technical pieces. Yeah, you've got to market, you've got to advertise and put yourself out there, but it's about your belief. It's about your mindset. It's about really, like I said before, listening to other people and where they're at. I'm not talking about listening to like you know, my truck broke down, my dog died, you know, my uncle's in jail story, you know, that's 3 hours long. I'm talking about listening to people who come to you and say, hey, you know, I'm inspired by what you do. Here's my situation. You know, I have 6 kids. I have people, I've had people come to me and they're like, I have 11 kids. I'm like, holy crap, I don't know how I can help you. Like, you got 11 kids, you know, but, you know, I've got this going on. This is where I'm at. This is where I want to be. Because people who, you know, are concise about, you know, not necessarily crystal clear on what they want, because if you don't have the mindset yet, it's kind of hard to get there like that quick. But people who at least have a sense of, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like, what's your breaking point? When is something going to happen that's bad enough for you to say, I'm done? There is no plan B. I have to make this happen. I have nothing to fall back on. It's time. It's my time to change my life. And getting with those people and listening to their story and saying, okay, this is where we can start. The big thing for me too is, people will come and say, what do I do? What do I do? And I say, the secret's inside of you, because it is. I can help you tap into that. That's why I'm a freedom coach, because I can help you learn to listen to your innermost self and learn to believe in yourself and help you learn to have the mindset shift, so that when you think about things that before were like, well, it doesn't make sense that I have to pay to work. It doesn't make sense that I have to do this. It doesn't make sense to have that. I can talk to people and help them understand a different mindset, so that they say, oh yeah, that actually does make sense. It's not like hypnosis or anything. It's just, taking the time to stop, sit back, put something up on a big whiteboard back there, and say, okay, let's look at this column, and this is what you believe right now. But what if? And then here's a column, and this is the possibility. And then looking at both and saying, man, I never looked at things that way. Because when you can help people open their mind to belief, then everything changes. When I made my first $25, they said there's a commission countdown inside of Empower Network. And, they started at over $1 million, and then, go down until, the people who've only made a $25 commission. And we always say that's the most important person, and it is, because when you make your first $25, that's when it really hits you that this is real. And I can tell you right now, I was on Interstate 81 on my way back from Mother's Day weekend, visiting my mom in 2012 when that happened for me, and I made my first commission. And I looked at my husband in the car, excuse my language, but this is exactly what I said to him. I said, holy shit, it works. And he was like, what are you talking about? I said, I just made $25. He was like, really? And I was like, yes! I can't believe it. And so, and then once your mind's open, so then I scratched my head and I said, if I make 25, I bet I can make 250. And so then that was my goal. And then when I made 250, I was like, man, I can make 250. I can make 2,500. And it just goes on, which really goes to prove that it is completely up to you. But you got to deal with people who are real. People come to you and say, I want what you have. And I'm like, okay, you want what I have, you got to do what I do. You got to be committed. You got to get all in, and it's not just all in monetarily, because I tell people straight up, don't spend the money to get all in if you think that is going to make you a millionaire, because getting all in is not what makes you a millionaire. Getting all in monetarily out of your pocket is not what's going to make you a lot of money. You do have to get all in monetarily to make a lot of money, but it doesn't matter if you're all in monetarily if you're not all in right here. This is the key. If you're all in right here, then I'm going to tell you right now, you better beg, borrow, don't steal, all right, because I ain't income disclosure. Don't steal nothing. Beg, borrow, do what you got to get the money to get all in, because once you are in line right here and you're checked in right here and ready to change your life and do whatever it takes, those are the 3 words, whatever it takes, then you better get in as fast as you can. Because once that train starts rolling in your head and you're ready to go, you want to be able to have the ability to earn the kind of money that you really want to earn, right? I'm not talking about no $25. I'm talking about $5 grand a pop, right? Because that's the kind of money I want to make. And it just gets better. So that's what I say.
Yeah, for me, I've been to several.
Hang on a second. I'm getting a comment. I'm going to have to mute you, Laura. So I'm saying that I'm getting feedback when we talk. All right, there we go.
For me, going to these events since DC was my very first one, I've always been a supporter of my husband. I always backed him up. I was his cheerleader and always encouraged him and gave him the edification that he needed to keep pursuing and going forth with his vision and his dreams. And this past event did something for me. It was almost like my ears were open this time. I heard things that I didn't hear before. And I'm sure that they were mentioned, but there comes a time when you're willing to open up your heart and your mind and listen with your ears. Because when that happened for me, anything is possible. Anything is possible for anybody. You can think about things day in and day out, but do you truly want these things? And how hard are you willing to listen and do what it takes to get there?
Oh, let me, all right, I had you muted, Laura.
She's still muted.
Absolutely. That's
Oh, oops. Sorry. You unmuted and I muted you again. There you go.
That's okay. Yeah, I see. I saw you were trying to get it, but weren't getting it. It's absolutely so true. And that's funny that was your first event, because Washington D.C. was the event I opened. That was my first opening event. I spoke for 55 minutes, and I was like so nervous. But then it was like, I guess they really listened to me when they gave me 15 minutes in Chicago, and I was like, 15 minutes is not enough time. So then they're like, okay, you got 55 in D.C., and I was like, oh snap, like, but I could have talked more, right? But it's true, because and here's the thing, all the leaders, all of us, right? We're essentially all saying the same thing all the time. We just say it in different ways. We just say it differently in hopes that just one time one of us will say it in a way that it breaks through to someone, that they actually get it. You know what I mean? It's just, a lot of times people say, the best part of the events are the in-betweens, not seeing the people on stage, but really communicating with them in between. And that's so true. I mean, there's tons of information. I take lots of notes and pictures and all that while the event is actually going on and we're on stage and talking to leaders and stuff. But the in-between really teaches you that what you see on stage is also what you see off stage. That, it's not just people going up and acting one way and saying some things or whatever, and then getting off the stage and like acting a different way or being different towards you. It's just what you see is what you get, right? And at least that's the way I feel about it, and that's the way it is with me. And then having the ability to sit down with people. I know you guys knew I was so frustrated because I had so many issues with the hotel in Nashville, and I was just like, blah, 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 chewing your ears off about that, right? So you probably thought I was crazy there for a little while, but it's just real. We're just real. And you, like you guys said, you get to see each other every few months and lift each other up. And, I don't know any other network marketing company or anybody in this industry that's the way we are, because like, I swear, most people are like trying to fight for customers. It's like, oh, I talked to them first, or I did this. And it's like, I've never seen that, ever seen that inside of Empower Network. Like, I'll have like been talking to someone, and then they'll mention someone's name that I know that's in Empower Network. I'm like, oh, hold on, you've been talking to them. Hold on. So then like I message that person. I'm like, you were talking to these people, they were asking me questions, go back to them. Oh no, you were talking to them, so you helped them. I'm like, no, you were talking, like we're literally like shoving people at each other because we want each other to have success and be successful. There's no cutthroat, there's no stealing and like all that stuff that you hate, like, which are things that makes you not want to get into network marketing. And I'm just so blessed that I found Empower Network. I've never done internet marketing before in my life. I was just a stay-at-home mom. The only thing I knew was Facebook, because I won't say most, I will say at least for me, the way I lived and worked, being a stay-at-home mom was like, I would do the laundry and then like get on Facebook and be like, hey, just finished 10 loads of laundry, right? And then I'd make dinner and then get on Facebook, hey, dinner's done. And then I like get the kids in bed and then get on Facebook, hey, kids are in bed. And so it was like my social outlet for adult interaction, because when you're a stay-at-home parent and you never leave the house really because you're always with the kids, it's like you got to have some kind of adult interaction. So Facebook was that for me. And then when I found the business and got into it, I was like, well, why don't I just talk about my life and my business on Facebook too? And that's how, I've had all my success. People say, well, we're paid advertising this. I don't do any of that. I don't do paid marketing. I've never done paid. I think I bought solo ads once and like was not happy with it, and that was it. I might boost a post here and there, but like really, it's all about relationship marketing for me. It's all about, like you guys said, I went to the carnival the other night and I put all these videos and pictures up and stuff like that. And it's sharing my life, sharing my story. And people say, well, what if I'm closed off and I don't want to? Well, the thing is people who join you for you. Like I said before, people join people, they don't join businesses. What is it that makes you different? Like I said about the car salesman thing earlier, nobody wants to buy a car from a car salesman, but everybody has to buy a car from a car salesman, right? So what is it that makes you different? What is it that makes someone want to buy from you? See, because I share my story in my life and I put stuff all over Facebook, it allows people to live vicariously through me. It allows people to say, man, I wish I had that kind of freedom. I wish I had the ability just to go to, you know, lunch with my kids whenever I feel like it at school and not be at a desk job. You know, I wish I had the ability to do this. I wish I had the ability to do that. And then put your character and integrity on top of it. And that pretty much seals the deal for people. You know, the whole car salesman thing. I don't know if have you guys heard me tell that story before? My little analogy about the car salesman. Have you guys heard that? No?
I don't think I heard that one.
Okay, so basically this is the way I feel about it. And I don't even know how I really came up with this. I just came up with it, but it's the absolute truth. So nobody wants to buy a car from a car salesman, but you have to buy a car from a car salesman. So what happens when you go to buy a car? Most of the time people walk onto a lot and some salesman comes out with like, let me get a business card. A business card is like, hey, my name is John Smith and you know, you want to drive this car and blah, blah, blah. And they're in your face, right? And they're like trying to get you to drive a car, this, that, and the other, talk to you. And most people like me, I get so agitated, I'm like, go away, don't talk to me, right? That type of deal. And so it's like dreadful to go. And so like you really don't even want to talk to that person. I get why they do it because 90% of car salesmen know that if you leave the lot, the chance of you coming back to buy from them are slim to none. So they try to get you to buy now, right? I get what they're doing. But then, so let's say you had a question about that particular car you were looking at. How apt are you to go in and actually talk to that salesperson who was hounding you? Probably not, because then you know it's going to be like all that again. But let's say you go to a dealership and a gentleman or a lady comes out to you and hands you a card and says, hey, my name is John Doe, and I'm just going to give you my card. You're probably just looking. I just want to let you know I'm here. If you have any questions, I'm inside. You can come find me. And then walks away. Would you think that was strange? I would, because I would be like, wow, that person like didn't hound me. That person wasn't down my throat trying to make me do something. So then let's take that person. If I had a question about that car, how apt do you think I would be to go in and talk to that person? Very much so, because they weren't like down my throat, in my face, trying to force me to do something. Now let's take it another level. So let's say that I decided that I wanted to buy an Escalade, right? So let's say I go in and talk to the nice salesman that you know, let me do my own thing and say, okay, so I made the decision. I want to buy a Cadillac Escalade, and I want to buy it because it has leather seats, you know, it has nice trim, it has heated seats, air-conditioned seats, dual DVD player, 6-disc changer, all that. So after I say that to this nice salesman, what would happen if that nice salesman actually repeated back to me what I said I wanted, which means he did what? He listened to me. And what if he said, okay, you know, Mrs. Parrish, I understand that you would like to buy a Cadillac Escalade because it has this, 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 and this. But how about this? You know, you can buy a Chevrolet Suburban that has all the same features that cost about 20 grand less. Would you be interested in that? Holy cow. What did that just do? Like, what happened there? You've got a car salesman who's looking out for your best interest, your pocketbook. What's going to be best for you? He listened to what I had to say and said, okay, I understand this is what you want. And from what you're telling me, this is the products that I have that's available to you. And you could save a lot of money by getting this one, right? Do you think I'm going to buy from that person? You better believe it. And not only am I going to buy from that person, guess what? When I want to buy another car, who do you think I'm going to? I'm going to that person. And who do you think I'm going to tell about that person? Everybody I know. Because that's integrity and that's character. And this person wasn't shoving something down my throat. They weren't trying to line their own pockets. They really wanted to give me value for what it was that I wanted. So when people come to me about owning their own business, joining the Power Network, working from home, I want to listen to them and hear what they have to say so I can review back and even take notes. You know, I have like 8 million notebooks everywhere. I say, okay, you know, Jane, whatever the person's name is, I hear that this is what you're looking for. This is how much money you want to make a month, this and this and this. Based on what you're telling me, these are the things that you would need to do. This is what you would need to buy product-wise to be able to earn that kind of income and so on and so forth and have a conversation. And they trust you, you know, instead of just saying, hey, join me, get all in, spend a bunch of money, and, you know, and then like kick them to the curb to deal with it on their own. It's about integrity. It's about passion. It's about character. It's about heart. It's about loving what you do. there's a quote by James Missioner, and I don't have it memorized, but it's my favorite. I have it like all over the place, and I should have it memorized, but it's really long. But the bottom line of it is he talks about, and Jay Cron actually said this on stage in Las Vegas, and I hollered out, I said, James Missioner, because he couldn't remember the guy's name, and he was like, of course, Laura Parrish would know. But he's talking about, you know, there's a fine line between working and playing, and he leaves it to other people to decide what he's doing, because to him, he's always doing both. Because to me, I don't work. To me, I live my passion and my dream every day by helping people change their lives. I'm literally a freedom coach, and I have the ability to financially provide for my family because I help other people change their life. People will say all the time, I want to make more money. How do I make more money? You know, some people might not have integrity or good character and say, well, buy more products and you can make more money. And that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to tell you these are the products you need to make the money. But if you want to make more money, it's not about buying more products. It's about offering more value, right? Because that's truly how you make more money. Give more value and you make more money, period.
Absolutely. Hey, Laura, I just want to comment. I got to mute you again. I got a comment that somebody posted while we were on here. I just want to share it with you. And it's funny, this person actually lives a town away from us, and we had no idea. We met her through Empower in one of the hangouts. And, you know, you just start chatting with people where you're from. Oh, I'm from there. Where do you live? And she's the next town over. So anyway, she's watching us right now. And her comment was, and this is to you, Laura, she says, not only that, Laura, you are inspiring. I love your drive and your why. And I've seen you up in the middle of the night many times, laugh out loud. How do you stay healthy? How do you stay fresh? So I just wanted to share that with you. Oh.
I think we're like both trying to unmute me at the same time.
Yeah.
How do I stay healthy? How do I stay fresh? You know, the thing is on a not really good note, but part of my story I don't really share a lot about, and I'm not going to go into it because we've been on for a while now, and I don't want to turn the tide of what this call is about. But something not so good happened to me when I was 18 years old in college, and it really created an inability in me to be able to sleep normally, because there's a difference between having a nightmare and waking up from it kind of freaked out, and actually living a traumatic situation that happened to you as though it was happening over and over again. So since I was about 18, I haven't had the ability to really sleep because of fear, right? Because of fear. Now, my good friend and the brother of our founder of Empower Network, David Wood's brother, William Wood, who's a hypnotherapist, has worked with me on that to help me not have that fear and to change my life in a different area, right? He's absolutely amazing and a dear friend of mine. But so I've never slept a lot, and I'm 37. I'll be 38 in July. So I'm used to the not sleeping thing. So that's kind of where that comes from. But you know, I just have found besides that you know, it's so strange, because when I was living wrong and drinking and doing those things, not living right or whatever, it was like I couldn't wait for the day to be like towards the evening, because I would go out and drink at night, right? And then I like didn't want the night to end, because if the night ended, that meant I had to stop drinking. And then I dreaded the morning because I knew I was going to feel the next morning. And since I've changed my life, it's like I don't want to go to bed at night. It's so strange. I don't want to go to bed at night, really, because of what I said before, because I always feel like I could be doing more. I always feel like, man, I want to get this up. I want to put this post up. I want to email these people. I want to do this. I want to do that. I literally sometimes look at the clock and I'm like, man, I got to go to sleep because I got to get up with my daughter in an hour to get her on the bus. Right? It'd be like 5:30 in the morning. I'd be like, oh, I got to get up at 6:30. You know, and sometimes, now I don't go like that forever. I'll tell you my secret to how I get around that sometimes. All right. But in the mornings when I get up, even my husband, he's like, how do you get up and you're like this? And I never thought I was a morning person, but it's like I'm excited to start my day, because a new day means a new opportunity to create more wealth. And when I say wealth, I mean wealth as in spirit, okay? Wealth and abundance in my life. And if that creates income, which usually it does, that's great, but it doesn't always. You know, I don't run around making $3 grand every day. I mean, That's not realistic, right? There's days I don't make any money. There's days I make $25, you know, it just, you never know, but that's okay because my why is in line with my vision. But I'm like this when I get up because I'm excited for the opportunity to reach out and help people change their lives. Now, as far as like, okay, so you can't sleep 1 hour every night, right? I did a sleep study a long time ago, and there's different types of sleep, like polyphasic sleep, monophasic sleep, and things like that. I actually should do blogs on this. There's different ways that people can sleep, or should I say lack of sleep, that it's proven statistically that not everyone needs X amount of hours of sleep a night. Some people live off of 3 to 4 hours of sleep a day. And they're just used to doing that by napping and sleeping during certain times. But for me, my husband generally gets 2 days off a week. And when he does that, I sleep like probably 5 or 6 hours. I will still get up and, you know, and get my daughter on the bus and everything to make sure she's square. But then I'll like go to bed and sleep till like noon. So like every 3 or 4 days, I take a little, you know, 4 to 5 hour sabbatical and actually sleep to rejuvenate. And then I go for like, you know, 4 or 5 more days with no sleep. So I'm not superhuman, but that's how I do it. Because he's like, you need to sleep, right? And I'm like, okay, I won't deny that. Let me sleep for a little bit. So
Me, I need a nap. Around like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm ready for a nap. Just to rejuvenate me.
Well, we should probably wind this down. Laura,
better.
we really, really appreciate you coming on with us tonight. Yeah. You shared a tremendous amount of value, as you always do. And, you know, we really, really appreciate you coming on here. This is something we're actually, from our event, we learned that we were doing a lot of technical stuff. We said, you know what? People really don't want to hear that, want to hear stories. So let's bring some people on and share some other experiences. And you're actually the first person we thought of. So we really, really appreciate you coming on with us tonight. We're getting great feedback. So
thank you
so much. By the way, if you like people like us, like Laura, you like being around people like us, there's a button down below you can click to join our team and be around people like Laura and Lori and I. We're just here to help. We want to create value, want to help people, we want to see people succeed. That's really why we're here, because we really can't do that with our jobs. With your jobs, you know, most times you can't help people the way you can here. And that's why we're here. So thank you again, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
Absolutely. It was a blast being here. I'm so honored that I was your first person on. So thank you. It was great to meet you guys this past weekend.
Absolutely.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
We'll see you
everyone.
next Thursday, 8 p.m. Take care.
Bye.